Hashtag new history. Hashtag new history. All right. Make sure I got everything squared away. Like I was supposed to do this without you looking at me, but I'm gonna do it while you're looking at me.
No, you're fine. It's not even a big deal.
All right, and I got you for 30 minutes, right?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And I never take it for granted that people take the time to give their time to have a conversation. I've been doing this media thing for a long time, so I love seeing our faces that are really, to be honest with you, one of the reasons I got into this is for that reason, is so I can take the time to tell our stories. That's why the podcast is called Hashtag New History, because we make new history every day. So, but we don't hardly put it on video or record it like we should, I believe. So I figured I'd jump in the mix and do something about it. So that's how I got started with this thing.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that sounds kind of similar to my reason, too.
I love it. So, okay, we're going to officially get started here.
Okay.
All right, good. Audio's good, video's good. Now it's time to have a conversation for the people.
Looks like Jennifer just logged in, too.
Oh, we got spectators. She gonna pop in and say hello?
Yeah.
Don't be sneaking in the background, girl. We see you. Don't be sneaking in the background. I'm just kidding.
Yes,
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
All right. Doc, you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, guys. Welcome to another edition of Hashtag New History. I'm your man, Kelly Payton. Mr. Kelly is speaking. And once again, I'm bringing an amazing guest with an amazing topic, an amazing story. And I'm doing this because I got some selfish reasons as well. I have daughters, and look, I'll go how specific. So I have a daughter who's fair skinned, a daughter who's brown skinned, and of course, we have that colorism sometimes in our amongst our race. But both of my daughters know how beautiful they are because Daddy tells them all the time. But it's also awesome to find an opportunity to do what you love to do, which I'm doing now, and interview people who can give my children an opportunity to recognize a path that they're already walking towards. I have a 19-year-old who goes to UNC Pembroke in North Carolina here. And of course, right now, COVID-19 has her upstairs eating all my food up. But she is pursuing a white coat of her own. She is going to be a orthodontist, and she absolutely excels in academia, 3.7 GPA her entire life. I think she made a C once, and I think I had to hold my baby because she cried. so very determined young lady. So I know my baby will be listening. So shout out to Kiara Payton, my oldest. And this conversation is definitely dedicated to my babies. How about that? So, like I'm warm up. Oh, and so, but I have an opportunity to, of course, we know right now we have, the COVID-19 going on. We have this pandemic that has hit everyone, and everybody's is pivoting and shifting and coming up with different ways to connect and all types of different things. And so this conversation today with Dr. Robbins is an opportunity for us to learn what's happening on the front lines of the medical world, especially from an African-American perspective. And that's something I absolutely want to hear, and I love to hear that perspective. So very blessed to have our guest on today. So Dr. Robbins, if you can bless us with just letting us know who you are. Listen, before we get into all of the medical technical stuff, I want to know who you are. I want to know where you were born and raised, where you come from, who your mama is. I want to know stuff like that.
Oh, you want my history, huh?
I want stuff. Right. I want stuff you can't Google. That's what I want.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fine. So my name is Amber Robbins, or Dr. Amber Robbins, and I am from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
All right.
I have, yes. And I am a daughter of a minister and daughter of a teacher.
A PK,
and,
huh?
yeah, PK. I know. Oh Lord, that story's right there. But yeah, so I always wanted to be a doctor ever since I was 4 years old. So that's something that I grew up with because my dad actually had some medical issues, and I saw the healthcare system at a really young age, and that influenced me all the way, well, even now, to be a part of healthcare. So that was a part of it.
Awesome.
Let's see. What else? I'm a musician.
What you play? What do you play?
I play the piano and saxophone.
Of course you have to. You're from Louisiana, duh. Like that's the home of, that's a musical place.
The Mecca.
Right,
yes.
right. I love it.
Jazz. So play that, and let's see what else. And I also have an interest in media as well. You were saying before we came on, your interest in media was that you wanted to be able to represent us well as minorities. And so I actually had the same epiphany during my training. And it pushed me to do more media. So I've done media for the local news in Rochester, New York. That's where I went to medical school and residency for family medicine, as I'm a family medicine doctor. And I also worked at ABC News in New York, at PBS NewsHour. And the whole reason, or one of the core reasons, was because I wanted to make sure that our stories as African-American people got out, and that the news will focus on that, because a lot of times they focus on some really negative things that may be going on in our neighborhoods, but not necessarily the positive things, or necessarily talk about health topics that actually affect us, other than how they're talking about COVID affecting the African-American community, things like that. I actually wanted to be able to be a positive image for minorities, especially those like your daughter who are interested in going into healthcare careers. So that's kind of the backstory. I'm in DC now, so kind of south.
Listen, that's awesome. Look, you talk about being 4 years old, and what's amazing is my oldest, had the same type of thing. She literally, like, nobody told her this is what she wanted to be. At about 4 years old, she let us know, like, listen, I want to be a dentist. And we were like, okay, like, you know, your teeth still falling out. Like, how you know you want to be a dentist? But she was just so clear, so sure, and she stuck with it. And so we're talking about now 19 years old in a world that goes up and down, left and right. So definitely I understand, you know, that inspiration can come from a place within. And I love the fact that you saw some things in your family and decided to do something about it. So those are people that I call those superheroes who, you know, they just can't take the fact that something is happening and they do nothing about it. So sounds like you've built a career, a lifestyle of that kind of mindset. And then also coming from a minister, it's a servant mentality. So you had a home that you saw service often, you know, so sounds like that was something that was a part of your personality. Now, you hit on the COVID-19, right? And of course, everybody has all these different versions of what they believe and what they don't believe and what's going on and what's not going on. And especially in the Black community, you know, right now our barbershops are closed, so we're not in there talking in our barbershops or beauty salons. But when we are talking to people on social media and things like that, people have a lot of different angles on how they view things. So the first thing that I want to know is, how bad is it when it comes to the COVID-19 from what you're seeing on the front lines? How bad is the COVID-19 pandemic?
Yeah, so I had to be honest, when things first started with COVID-19, I wasn't sure how it was going to go. I actually thought it wasn't going to be as bad as it is now. So just to let you know that even people who are practicing in medicine, you know, this really threw us off.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, it's pretty, well, it depends on where in the U.S. you're talking about, but it's pretty bad for us, I would say, as African Americans. And the reason being is because if you're already starting off where you're having chronic diseases like high blood pressure, diabetes, and your immune system isn't working as well, and then you get hit with anything, whether it be COVID or the flu, then that can take you out.
Right.
So in that sense, yeah, in Louisiana, that has been the case. You know, a lot of people from Louisiana are Black. And so even family members of mine have passed away because of this. So in
wow.
that sense, it threw me off. It's something that I definitely, when I go into the clinic, like I was just in the clinic today, I mean, I think about, I'm wearing my mask from the time I get in there to the time I leave, because it's serious. It's something that I'm hopeful that, I'm grateful that things are getting better, but it's not something that you should take lightly.
What do you think about all this opening up of the states and all of that stuff from a medical perspective? What is your take on the opening of...
I have the medical perspective, and I have I'm about to get married, and I need my wedding date. I'm like, Lord, let August 8th happen, Jesus. But so that perspective, I'm like, oh, I'm glad that the opening of things, because that means that we'll probably make it. On the medical perspective, again, it just depends on the community. So many communities are doing different. In DC here, we haven't opened up things, right? We haven't opened up, we're still on the stay-at-home order because where COVID is in our community, we haven't gotten to a point where we have a steady decline. So for me, it makes sense that we still have a stay-at-home order versus places where, even Louisiana, because obviously I'm always looking at Louisiana because that's where my people are.
Right.
But they have had a steady decline, so that makes sense where they may be opening up stores. I also look at it as a mental thing, because that honestly has been. We have the COVID pandemic, but we have a mental disorder, all that pandemic as well. That's even more aggressive, I would say now. So I think about that and people's livelihoods and things like that. So I mean, I don't have the best answer of if it's okay to open versus not okay to open. I think it just depends on the community, and then, praying that the leadership makes the right decisions for us. But it's going to be, even with opening, it's going to be a back and forth. It's going to be increased cases and decrease, but hopefully the decline continues. So
right, yeah, my family too was affected. I got a brother and my sister-in-law who they didn't succumb to it, but they end up having it. Had a friend of mine around the city and here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, who passed away from it. He visited Atlanta, and that's where he ended up catching it. Yes, he had some conditions that were pre-existing, but still, it definitely has affected us all. And I like the fact that you are bringing to the forefront the mental aspect of it, because it's only so much Netflix and chilling you can do. Okay, it's so many shows you can watch to try to get your mind off of things. Right.
That was keeping me going.
Right. So they got to find somebody else to fuss about now. So it's definitely in the airwaves. It's definitely in the forefront. But after this is over, the mental health profession is going to have a line out the door, man, because this thing right here is going to change people, I believe, forever.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of anxiety, depression, PTSD that comes with it. And a lot of times people think about that aspect with patients, and sometimes it seems like we're like in a glass box, but even people in medicine are going through and trying to figure out how to best care for patients who are experiencing that. We're experiencing the same things ourselves. And learning that type of trauma on both sides. That has been, I would say for me, and definitely some of my closer colleagues who talk about it, who I'm talking about it with, that has been a challenge.
And I think
go to work every day.
I think that's something that people mismanage. It's easy to be on the outside of something and have your opinions about how things should be, but you've been on the inside of it, basically leading while bleeding at the same time, because you're a person as well. It's not that you're stoic and you don't have any emotions. So even as you service the people, those connections happen. And I know you have patients you might have been serving for years who now have some of these COVID issues and things like that. So I know that's something that takes a toll on you guys. And I hope you guys are able to put some things in place after the fact. Because listen, I'm military, so I know all too well about PTSD. I turned 21 years old in Afghanistan. So I know how it goes in regards to how you kind of get stuck there for a little while if you're not careful. But this pandemic has also made me respect our elderly a little bit more, because, now we understand why grandma and granddad had little farms and little gardens and things like that, always preparing, and I thought it was silly. My grandmother always, trying to get us to go pick her different food and stuff like that. And I was like, Grandma, getting on my nerves. Now I understand, because since this happened, I've grown a garden, into more than natural foods. Yeah. So now it helps to have a little bit more respect with that aspect. And in the aspect of respect, I understand that in the last couple of weeks, you had a seminar, a conference, a virtual conference that you participated in. Tell us a little bit about that virtual conference.
Yeah, so that was a Women in White Coats conference. So it was going to be an in-person conference at a nice resort. But then I can hear the regret in the back right up in here. It's like a nice resort. So we went virtual, but it was amazing. So Women in White Coats is a group that was created to uplift women doctors. And so I was amazed by the fact that even though we were taking it virtual, we were really able to help a lot of women doctors be able to talk about the things we've been talking about today with COVID and what that brings, and burnout, which is pretty heavy for a lot of doctors right now, where you're working, you're not really finding as much enjoyment. You're basically kind of going through things as a robot, and then that leads to depression, anxiety, all those type of things. So it was amazing, and we had so much fun. I had our virtual happy hours too, which was good.
Happy hours are always great, right? Always great.
Yeah, they were good. Struggle together to be able to tell them, okay, I'm going through that too. You're not alone. We got you. We're your sisters. So it was amazing. And what was even amazing with that too is a lot of the speakers. So I was one of the speakers. Okay. But we had other speakers who were a part of our book, The Chronicles of Women in White Coats too. Okay. And the reason why it's so cool that they were able to be a part of it is because that's what the book is about. It's about telling our stories, about telling what it's like to be in medicine, about COVID, all those different things. So we always try it. And again, you said this before, and you didn't even know I was thinking this way. There's power in your story.
Absolutely.
You were saying that. There is power in your story. And when you get your story out there, whether you're talking to people in a conference or reading it in a book, there's power and connections that happen, and you don't feel isolated. So
that's
I'm
really
always
good.
excited to talk about that project.
Healing
the Healers, that's how I call it.
Healing the Healers. Wow, that's amazing. And again, it's so easy for people on the outside to have a lot of assumptions about what they think people should be doing and how they should be going about things and how they need to do this, that, and the other. But being on the inside of it and then listening to you guys growing that sisterhood, that bond together, these are things that are going to bond you guys together to solve more problems, to be able to help us more than those that might need medical assistance. So I love to hear that energy of collaboration and connection coming together. Listen, you talked about your book, The Chronicles of Women in White Coats. So how did you feel about that project? Like, how did you approach it? Like, what was it? Because when you said Chronicles of Women in White Coats, like your whole eyebrows lifted, like your energy just went like, bow. So like, I definitely wanted to touch that. So how did it feel about approaching that project? How did it come about? Like, tell us about that.
Sure. It's a love project for me.
A love project.
Honestly, a love project because so this is our second book. We came out previously, and in that book we had a lot of authors, women doctors from across the country who came together and talked about the struggles and successes. And for me, that was open eye experience, literally, because the idea came from me being in bed, having God tell me, girl, you need to get up. This is what you need to do, and then do it. And so I find that that's a part of a calling. You talk about the servant type mindset. Mm-hmm. It's me being able to serve people who serve.
I love that.
So the book is about that. It's not only about that. So it's also about talking about our struggles. So we talk about, one of the authors, she went through abuse. Another has issues with heart disease. Others have issues trying to figure out where their career is going to go next. A lot of us are first generation doctors, what that looks like. Being able to step up and say, hi, I'm a doctor, but then your patient thinks that you're a nurse.
Oh.
Talking about all those things is not only therapeutic for us as doctors, but also for women just like your daughter who are interested in being a part of this profession and being able to kind of peel back and show what the realness of this profession is, not necessarily what you see on Grey's Anatomy, what we really go through
right.
on a day-to-day basis as Black women, as minority women. So that's why I get so excited about it, because it's something that I wanted to have when I was younger, wanted to see and read about. I feel as if it's something that will really help us get more women of color, more women in general into medicine, and be able to set up a system that is healthy for them, not something that they would experience burnout, or if they do, we'll be able to help them navigate it through. So that's why my eyebrows go up. It's really a love project for me.
I love it.
And when you read it, it's not just me, it's everyone who's in it. It's a love project for us. We want to tell our stories, and we want to heal people, and we want things to be better for us all.
I love that. So would it be safe to say that the healers are your target in the aspect of your mission, your life, to be able to heal the healers? Is that safe to say that?
Yeah, that's a portion of it. And
okay.
The other portion is also to inspire young women to know that they can do this and know that your feelings are valid. Just because you might have doubts, like we call it imposter syndrome, feeling as if you're not supposed to be somewhere, even though you've achieved all of this stuff that should definitely push you where you're supposed to be. We experience that at every level.
Really?
And so having that power of understanding that other people go through the same thing will help uplift even more people to be able to do this. And it doesn't even necessarily need to be medicine. It could be anything that you want to do. Just knowing that people who are high achieving women still experience it at every level. It doesn't matter if you 30, 20, 50, 60, it happens. Yeah.
Wow. And so listen, as we're going into our last segment, our last 10 minutes here. So it's a few things that jumps out when I hear you speak, when I feel the energy of you talking. You know, listen, I'm getting ready to be 39 years old, right? So I'm coming to realize that a whole lot of stuff I thought I knew, that I don't know a whole lot, okay? When I say that, especially when it comes to how super smart, intelligent, and intuitive women are, namely Black women. And so raising daughters as well has been something to learn, a lot of learning for me. But hearing your resilience, your perseverance, your perspective, and also even hearing the pain points as well, like literally while you're sitting there talking, helps me understand the things that my daughters are saying a little bit more, things that my mother has told me a little bit more, in the aspect of how challenging it is to just be yourself, to do regular things here in this country. And if you would have asked me 5 years ago, who has it worse, Black women or Black men, I would have hands down told you, I was like, listen, it's us. We got it worse. That's how I would have looked at it. But upon further examination, not only I'm listening to the aspect of once you achieve high levels of achievement, whether it's in the corporate world, whether it's in ministry, whatever it is that you're doing, you also have to deal with the fact that you are beautiful women, and you walk into a place and 50 guys have stuff to say or stare or gawk or whatever the case is, and we don't know that feeling. I don't care how attractive we are as men. We don't have it where every last one of us walking somewhere and somebody whistle and try to rub our beard. Right? Let's try to whistle and grab our beard. That don't really work like that, right? So, but I upon observation of my own children and then watching women that are around me, I didn't really know how bad you guys really have it as far as doing regular. So like I can go on a vacation by myself and ain't nobody gonna mess with me. Okay. If you guys go on a vacation, like you have to really watch your back. You have to really look out. And so listening to the journey that you're on is refreshing, not only just because of my daughter, but as a woman who you writing books and speaking at conferences. and you're out there being a member of the media, putting your face out. How does that feel with that level of responsibility that you're carrying, that you're taking on, knowing all of those different plights that's going on as a Black woman? How do you feel?
Well, that's a hard question. And my accent came out.
It's all right, sister. Listen. It's okay. Be yourself on this platform. Be yourself.
I would say a lot of times I feel like, especially when I started, I didn't feel good enough to be able to do this. I don't look like a doctor. What a stereotypical doctor looks like. You know, I present myself in a way that is different even for medicine too, inside and outside. So for me, that is a hard question. I would say because of my issue with being able to actually answer it, obviously I'm not comfortable with it.
Okay.
That's something that I have to literally push myself to do because I know that resistance is not there because other people are placing that resistance on me. That resistance is there because I'm putting it on myself, because I feel like at times I may not necessarily be at that place that I am a role model, which is crazy to think about. Right? It's crazy to think about.
Right. Sister, I definitely,
But I'm being real.
And I appreciate that. I definitely, didn't ask the question to cause any more uncomfortability, but I love the fact that you are self-aware enough to be able to look in self and be able to realize, you know what, that is still, a little something that is I'm genuinely pushing through. But the fact that you have the mantle and the fortitude to continue, to me, that's enough. A lot of entrepreneurs measure themselves off of levels of success. And to me, I say, hey, man, if you kept your doors open, okay, or you kept trying, man, you're successful every time you try in this world. So, and listen, Doc, of course, we have to end. I'm absolutely enjoying this conversation. I hope that you're able to come back with yourself to go into more detail. And definitely those women in white coats that we talk about, because when that happens, I'm gonna make sure that my little woman in white coat, if I can rustle her up, is somewhere near, so she can connect and be able to hear as well. But before we go, tell the audience how they can find you, how they can connect with you, whether it be social media, website, whatever.
Sure. So on Instagram, you can find us at Women in White Coats Series. You can also find us on our website, thechroniclesofwomeninwhitecoats.com. There you can purchase a book if you like. We're also on Amazon, and Women in White Coats, we have a blog as well. We have a lot of stuff going on. We have
Women in White Coats everywhere. White coats for everybody, everywhere.
Yeah, womeninwhitecoats.com. That's where we have our blog. And if you're trying to look for me specifically, you can find me at amberrobbinsmd.com and also on Facebook at Dr. Amber Robbins, as well as Instagram. So we try to make sure we're visible because our goal is to really touch people who are in medicine and people interested in medicine, but just in general, people in general. My hope is that we can uplift everyone and do what they dream.
I love that. So look, as we enter our last 60 seconds, I'm a guy that I love to give out tools. So I always say, need to have tools in your toolbox or your Batman belt, whatever you want to call it. So if you could say one tool that you can give in this last 45 seconds or so, one tool for your audience that you're trying to reach, what would that one tool be that you would leave with us today?
I would say push yourself past whatever the doubts are, because they have people out there who really need, and this may be cliche, but people who really need to hear what you have to say, who really need you to be present and to show up. So if you have those hesitancies, like I have, just do it.
I love it.
Even this conversation has been amazing, so I appreciate that.
I love it. Listen, I'm always amazed off of this journey, because this was something that was in my mind, a vision that was spoken into me, that I doubted myself quite often on would it ever come to fruit, and I'm walking in it. So to get an opportunity to connect with somebody who's doing the great things that you're doing, who's an example in the community, who has so many, their tentacles and so many different things, a PK at that, which is awesome. I definitely appreciate the conversation. Thank you for the tools. And we hope that we're able to connect more and be able to get you back on the show. And anytime that you have anything that you're trying to get out and say, however you want to say it, sister, guess what? You can reach back out and we can make that happen. Too easy. Too easy. Definitely appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right. Hey, listen, guys, this is Kelly Payton. Mr. Kelly is speaking with Dr. Robbins in the house. Listen, thank y'all so much for listening. Tune in next time. #New History Podcast. Thank y'all. Peace. All right, stay on. I'm still recording, but you stay on. Okay. Girl, I love your energy. Yes.
Oh, good. Thank you. I love your energy too.
I love your energy, and I definitely look forward to, as you have different things going on, to just connect and we can lean on each other's platforms and be able to grow that way. So I'm grateful to be able to connect with your energy more. And that's you speaking, but I'm an energy guy, and so you're in tune, like you're calm. You got the cover up in the back, so everybody left you alone, like you isolated. But I know when you run back outside of that curtain, you're gonna put your Superwoman thing back on and run back into doing all the stuff that you're doing throughout the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely appreciate it. How do you think the interview went? How do you feel about it?
Oh, I think it went really well. I think you do this is my media side too. I think you do a really good job of interviewing and then being able to tie things back in. I think that was really good.
Did you feel like you got your message out like you needed to, the things that you wanted to say?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Because of course, our let's see, it's about to run out of time. No, we have removed 40-minute time limit. Okay, cool. Sorry, it was reading real fast. But I know we have all our, publicists talk back and forth and things like that. And I just wanted to make sure, because I know they're going to be listening if they're not listening now. Just wanted to make sure.
She logged off.
Okay. But of course, they gave me a list of things about you and questions and things like that. And we covered a handful, but I know there's way more to you, to your story. And so again, even though we did part 1, if we got to schedule again, in the next week or two,
okay,
and do a part 2 of it, then we could just do a series with you back to back. I'm very flexible when it comes to that. Also biased because I got daughters, so like anything I can do to have black women, I'll be honest, like anything that black women are doing, like I want a camera on it and I want to capture the story. And I want to hear the strength and the struggles. And the thing that you said at the end is, man, y'all do not stop. Y'all just do not stop. Like, y'all just don't. I'll be honest with you. Black men, sometimes we go through a 20-year curveball. Like, we be licking our wounds for 20 years. Like, straight up. You guys have so much resilience. And I learn more off of your work ethic. Because whether it's babies, bad relationships, whatever, like y'all don't play, y'all go get your education, you build businesses. It's just amazing what you guys are doing. So I'm definitely interested in yourself and anybody else that you have in mind that has a story that needs to get out.
Yeah,
like we definitely can connect. So
okay,
I'll have our people to connect and pass information and all that good stuff. I'll send you my personal number. Anything that you got going on and say, hey, we're doing this over here, we're doing this over there, whatever the case is, if you shoot me a text and let me know if I'm able to be around it, I love to, be a part of what you have going on for real.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, definitely do that. And then I'll also send my information too. And then tell your daughter to take a look at that website for real though. womeninwhitecoats.com. Because I think she'll find a lot of good information there. And even if she wants to connect, I'm not a dentist, I'm a family doctor, but if she wants to connect, having mentoring, all that kind of stuff, let me know. Because it's a journey.
and I bet. So I definitely understand the power of the network. So I'm definitely going to have her to connect and go from there. So I'm going to nudge her to do that. So. But again, thank you, Doc. I know you got to run off into the sunset. So do I. So I'll talk to you later. Have a great day. Definitely.
We'll talk again.
All right.
Okay.
Blessings.
Right.
Bye.
God bless you too. Bye-bye.
Hashtag New History. Hashtag New History.